Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second day of our live online English lessons. So yesterday we talked about the verbs and the role it plays in a sentence. So today my lesson would start from the types of sentence. So actually the sentence can be grouped into different types based on its structure or functions, but then I'll focus more on the structure of the sentences. So type of sentences. Okay. So the first thing we need to understand is what is a sentence. So we have been learning about sentence. Your teacher tells you to write sentence, especially when you are a beginner and when you start learning English. You make simple sentences, right? And then gradually you start making more compound and other types of sentences. So the first thing we need to understand is what actually a sentence is, right? So will you try to answer this question, what a sentence is? Yes? I hope many of you are trying to answer me. So I can hear someone saying it's a group of sentence, but does a group of sentence always be a sentence, a complete sentence? Let us find out. Say, a group of words that expresses a complete thought. So that is very important because we can find words in groups, but we need to find out whether that group express a complete thought or not, right? So it starts with a capital letter, you all know, and ends with a period, that is a full stop. Or it can be a question mark or exclamatory mark. So this is just to help you review what a sentence actually is. So each word in a sentence has its own place and function. We cannot write the words at a random order. We cannot write the different words in a sentence in random order. You just learned about or reviewed the different parts of speech yesterday in Gedin Sathagela's lesson. So you might be remembering that. So we know where adjective should be placed, where a noun has to be placed, where a verb has to be placed in a sentence. So otherwise, the sentence won't convey a complete meaning, a complete idea or thought. So that's why it's very important that you know where to place those parts of speech in a sentence, right? Okay. And sentences are made of phrases and clauses. So the students, you might have heard about phrase. So I assume students of class 6 might have heard about phrase. I don't know if they have heard about clause or not, but phrase you might have heard, right? So we will go a little bit in detail about phrases because this is very important part of a sentence. So sentence, we have learned yesterday that sentences are made up of parts of speech. But then we also have to know that phrases also make sentence. A phrase is a group of words. Now, how many of you know what a phrase is? Yes? A phrase is a? Okay, some of you may be saying group of words. So, a group of words. So, let me just write you or give you an example. Tashi, ball, pay. So do you think this is a group of words? Tashi, ball, play. We have the word play, pay. This is not play. Pay, I have written pay, right? P-A-Y. Ball, tashi. Tashi, ball, pay. So this is a group of words, right? But do you think this is a phrase? What do you think? Is this a phrase? Tashi, ball, pay. Is it a phrase? Of course not, because these words are not related, right? Tashi, ball, pay, they do not convey anything, right? They are not related. So what you need to understand is phrase is a group of related words but that does not convey a complete sense, does not make a complete sense. You need to find out that, learn that. A group of related words that work together as a unit but does not have a subject and verb, and so we cannot call this a sentence. So if I write an old woman, this is a phrase, an old woman, right? But this do not convey or this do not stand in a on its own, cannot stand on its own. So this is not a sentence. An old woman is not a sentence, but this forms a part of a sentence. So we can add something more on that. An old woman, then what? So in order to make it a complete sentence. So a group of related words that work together as a unit but does not have a subject and a verb. It adds meaning to a sentence. So look at the slide. It adds meaning to a sentence. For example, a kind-hearted lady. So I have written an old woman. So there's another example there, a kind-hearted lady. This is an example of a phrase, but this is not a sentence because it does not convey a complete thought or complete idea. So the types of phrases. So we have actually many types of phrases, but I'm going to discuss briefly only few of the or some of the phrases. So we have noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase. So you can easily find out by looking at the word itself, noun phrase. What do you think this is? So a noun phrase is a phrase that works like a noun, but it's not a complete sentence. So noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, we have gerund phrase, infinitive phrase, absolute phrase. So we have a lot of phrases. So I'm going to discuss only few with example. Just look at the slide. So examples of different types of phrases. The lady was very sad. Okay. So in this sentence, the lady was very sad, which is a noun phrase. The lady was very sad. So the lady, this is a phrase, the lady, and this is a noun. So that's why the lady was very sad. So this is an example of a noun phrase. The lady was very sad. Right. So in the same way, we have another example. We have to wear face mask. So we have to wear face mask. This is an infinitive phrase because to wear face mask, infinitive is to do something, to do. So we have to wear face mask. So we have to wear face mask. So to wear. So this one suggests this is infinitive. So we have to wear face mask. So this is a part of the sentence but not a complete sentence, right? So this is a phrase. So example of infinitive phrase. Then look at the next example. Wearing a face mask prevents the spread of the virus. So wearing a face mask prevents the spread of the virus. So here I just want you to notice wearing a face mask wearing a face mask prevents. So this part, this is a gerund phrase. Gerund phrase. So here I just want to highlight this because yesterday there was a question asked by one of the viewers about gerund. So wearing here is a gerund, right? Because you might feel like this, it looks like a verb, right? But this is not a verb that is functioning like a noun. Okay, ing form of verb that functions like a noun is called a gerund. So I'm just going to explain that. Gerund with another example. So wearing a face mask, I think this makes sense, right? Do you understand, or I need to repeat that? Wearing a face mask, this is a sort of activity. Wearing a face mask, this is an activity that is a noun. Prevents something, right? So let me make it a little simpler by using another sentence. Okay. I love to sing, right? I love to sing. This is infinitive. I love to sing. Now the same sentence can be conveyed in another way. Singing is something that I love, or singing is my hobby, or I love singing, right? Something that I love. So here the word singing is a gerund. This is an activity, a verb. It looks like a verb, but it's actually performing the function of a noun, right? Singing is something that I love, or singing is my hobby, you can say. Or if I change the same thing in another way, Tenzin is singing. Here singing is not a gerund, right? Tenzin is singing. So here it's a verb, because Tenzin is doing this, right? Tenzin is singing. This is the action. So here this is a continuous, present continuous tense. Tenzin is singing. This is verb. So I hope you are clear now with what a gerund is. So it looks like a verb, but actually it's not a verb. It's functioning like a noun. So it's an activity, like singing is something that I love. So singing is that activity, that is noun, right? So gerund phrase here, wearing a face mask prevents the spread of disease. So wearing a face mask, this is then an activity. So we are not looking at this word as a verb, but a noun, right? So that is one, and then let us look at another example. Okay. The coronavirus is affecting many people. The coronavirus is affecting many people. So here, the verb phrase affecting many people. Okay. The coronavirus is affecting many people. Okay, now it's affecting many people. So this is the verb phrase. So actually the word itself suggests, right? Verb phrase is affecting many people. Affecting, this is the verb here. So the coronavirus is affecting many people. But if we remove this part from this sentence, the coronavirus from the sentence, then it cannot stand alone. Is affecting many people is not a complete sentence. It's only a phrase. So phrase is a part of sentence, right? It's not a complete sentence. So that's why in order to understand sentence, it's very important that you learn about phrase. So like the parts of speech, we have nouns, adjectives, article, interjection, conjunction, preposition on all. So we learn about this as separate entities in a sentence, but the phrase, we also need to understand, yes, there's a role of phrase. So it's a group of words which is a part of a sentence. So they are related and that stands as a unit, right? Then let us take another example. The old mole lived in a dark tunnel. So this is a sentence I took from yesterday's story in my first session. So the old mole lived in a dark tunnel. Prepositional phrase. Why do you think this is a prepositional phrase? Okay, now it's time for you to think about it. Why do you think this is a prepositional phrase? The old mole lived in a dark tunnel. So you can look at all the sentences we discussed, and now look at the last one. I'm just asking you the question of the old mole lived in a dark tunnel. I have highlighted in a dark tunnel and underlined also. Why do you think this is a prepositional phrase? Yes, what do you think? Yes, you're right, because there's a preposition there. It's functioning like a preposition. Where? Where the old mole is living, right? Where did the old mole live? In a dark tunnel. In. It starts from the preposition in, right? In a dark tunnel. So, that is a prepositional phrase. And then, look at another sentence here. The tunnel was extremely dark. Okay, adjective phrase. Again, you can try why this is an adjective phrase. Extremely dark. Because now you know the meaning of adjective, isn't it? You all know what an adjective is. Keep that in mind and just think why extremely dark is an adjective phrase. Okay, let me write here. Extremely dark. The tunnel is extremely dark. Now, extremely dark is a phrase, right? And this is an adjective phrase. Why? Just think about what an adjective is. Yes? Adjective qualifies a noun. So, the noun here is the tunnel, right? The tunnel is extremely dark. So, this word, dark, this is adjective and this is extremely dark, right? Dark itself is just one word, but extremely dark is the, we can say a group or a unit. So, this is adjective phrase. So, it's in a way helping to modify this adjective dark, extremely dark, showing it in a way that darkness is there in the tunnel. So, extremely dark, this is an adjective phrase. So, why am I discussing all this, all the phrases? Because it's very important that you understand a sentence not just as something formed by the different parts of speech, but phrases and clauses. So, clauses you will learn in our later session, but in this session, I'm just going to let you understand the meaning of phrases and the different types, right? So, that's why it's very important. And if you understand how to frame a correct sentence, then it becomes very easy for you to write a paragraph or a letter or essay or whatever you want to write, because the main unit that makes the whole write-up, the paragraph or essay, is a sentence. So, it's very important that you understand sentence. Okay. So, like I told you in the beginning, I'm going to discuss sentence types based on structure. Okay. So, the types of sentences based on structure is like we have 4: simple, compound, complex, and compound complex, right? And in this session, we are going to discuss or learn only the simple sentences. So, you will learn about compound sentences in the next session. So, for this session, we will discuss only simple sentence. So, now that you all understand what a phrase is that forms a part of a sentence, then now it becomes easier for you to understand what actually a sentence or simple sentence is. Okay. So, a simple sentence is a sentence that consists of only one clause, and that too is independent. Now, you might be wondering what a clause is, because I haven't discussed what clause is. So, I'll just give you an example. Okay. A sentence that consists of only one clause, and that clause has to be independent. Okay, for example, The old woman gave a seat to the lady. So this is an example of a simple sentence. An old woman gave a seat to the lady. So like phrase and clause make sentence, but in simple sentence what you need to understand that it consists of a clause, and that clause has to be independent, because in my next session, in the third session, I will discuss with you types of clauses. So the clause can be independent and dependent, right? So for the time being, I'm not going to discuss clause in detail, but only trying to help you with what a simple sentence looks like, right? So it has to be, there has to be an independent clause in a sentence. Independent means it stands on its own, right? Does not need support of any other words or phrases here. Clear? So the old woman gave a seat to the lady is an example of a simple sentence. Okay, the outbreak of, look at another slide. The outbreak of COVID-19 resulted in huge loss of lives. So, okay, the first example was the old woman gave the lady a seat. Okay, so what you need to understand is, in a sentence, we actually know that a sentence consists of a subject and predicate, right? A subject and verb, and the words that modify it, isn't it? So the old woman here is a subject, clear? And gave the lady a seat. This is the verb, gave. The old woman gave the lady a seat. So, like a simple sentence can be short, it can be long. Okay, it is a simple sentence, as the word suggests, doesn't mean that all the time a simple sentence has to be short. A simple sentence can be long. Okay, provided there's one subject, one verb. So you just need to identify the different types of sentences based on the number of clause or the kind of conjunction used or not. So you will learn about this in detail in our later sessions. Okay, so the lady planted and watered the seed. Okay, so okay, I just want you to look at the sentences carefully. The old woman gave a seat to the lady. In the first sentence, the subject is one, right? A singular subject, an old woman, and there's a verb. Okay, gave a seat to the lady. And in the second sentence, the outbreak of COVID-19, again this is one action, right? Outbreak of COVID-19, so a singular subject, resulted in huge loss of lives. So in both the sentence, the tense used is past tense. We learned about the verb tenses yesterday. So in both the sentences, tense used is past. The old woman gave a seat to the lady. The outbreak of COVID-19 resulted in huge loss of lives. Okay, again, past tense. And in the third sentence, the lady planted and watered the seed. Now, here I just want you to notice there, how many subjects are there? The lady, right? One. And verb? Yes? Did I hear two? Right. The lady planted and watered the seed. Okay, this is the object. Planted and watered, right? There are two verbs, so compound verb. Planted and watered the seed. So a simple sentence can be formed with a single subject, compound verb, right? So the old woman gave a seed to the lady. The outbreak of COVID-19 resulted in huge loss of lives. The lady planted and watered the seed. So these are all examples of simple sentences. So if you are eager to know about clause as an independent or dependent, you will learn about this in our later session, right? So meanwhile, I'll just carry on with this. Okay. Okay. Now I just want you to look at the board. Okay. So what you see here, I have written some sentences here. Okay. So we talked about phrases, the types of phrases. We talked about what a simple sentence looks like, what a simple sentence is. Okay. And just in a way quickly helped you think about parts of speech and the role of phrases in a sentence. Okay. Now, just look at these sentences. Okay. First, we will go through this. Do you wear masks? Do you wear masks? What do you think? Is this a sentence? Is this a sentence or not? Of course, this is a sentence, right? Do you wear masks? This is a sentence. But what type of sentence is this? Are you trying to answer? What type of sentence is this? Okay. This is, of course, a simple sentence if we look at the structure. Okay? If we look at the structure of this sentence, this is a simple sentence. Okay? You, the subject, this is a verb, where, okay? This is the subject and this is the verb. So this is a simple sentence. But then, if you look at the function, okay, so we get a type of sentence that is called interrogative. Interrogative. Okay, now you are thinking, oh, we know this, right? You all know what an interrogative sentence is. I'm just trying to help you revise, those who have learned, and those who haven't learned, please just pay more attention and try to understand this. So, interrogative sentence. So, a sentence can be simple as well as interrogative. Simple in the sense we are looking at the structure of the sentence. And interrogative, we are looking at the function of the sentence, how the sentence is functioning. Since this is a question, right? So, what you need to remember is all the interrogative sentences end in or with a question mark. Okay, you see the question mark here, interrogative. So, you might have heard about, okay, the police is doing some sort of interrogation about this case, interrogations, questioning, okay, the questions. So, do you wear mask? This is a question, okay. So, a question is an interrogative sentence, and I have used an example of a simple sentence, okay. So, interrogative sentences can be in other structure as well. So, the same thing here. Why was Thumbelina sad? We read the story yesterday about Thumbelina. Do you remember in my first session? Yes. So, in the story you learned that Thumbelina was sad. But why? Okay. Why was Thumbelina sad? So, this is a question, right? Why was Thumbelina sad? This ends in a question mark. And this is an interrogative sentence. Okay. No wonder this is also a simple sentence. Okay. Why was Thumbelina sad? Interrogative, simple. Now, do and why. Okay. So, this is question word. Okay. So, I'll not go in detail about this. A question can usually be asked like in the WH form, what, why, who, whom, where, when, which. But then you have questions starting from words like do, are you going there, do you want to help me, or can you do this, right, models and all. So, your teacher might have told you, or you maybe learn in detail later. So, Tibet is a country. Now, let's look at another sentence here. Tibet is our country. What do you think this sentence is functioning like or functioning as? Tibet is our country. Okay, this is a simple sentence, right? This is a simple sentence. Tibet is our country, but then this is making a statement. Okay, this is making a statement, and this is a declarative sentence. Declarative sentence. So making a statement. Okay, this is also, we should read books. Okay, we should read books. Do you think we should read books? See, this is a statement. We should read books. Now I'm just changing this. Do you think we should read books? I have converted this sentence into its interrogative form. So, do you think we should read books? Okay, we should read books. Then we have, the situation these days is not normal. The situation these days is not normal. I'm repeating this sentence because I want to discuss something more here rather than the function. Okay? Other than the function, I'm just going to discuss something else that I stressed on repeatedly yesterday. I just want to see if you remember it or not. The situation these days is not normal. Okay, you might wonder, okay, yesterday I remember telling you when the subject is singular, the verb has to be singular, right? And when the subject is plural, the verb has to be plural. Do you remember that? Very good. So, if you remember that, can you tell me the situation these days? So, we have the word days here and I have written is here, right? The situation these days is not normal. Why do you think I made this mistake? Do you think this is a mistake? A silly mistake I have made? Yes? Some of you might be wondering, days, after days I have written is. Is a singular verb. How come ma'am has written is after days? Okay, let me tell you. So sometimes this happens with our students. They get confused to decide which is the subject. So let me tell you, the subject here is not days, but this one, the situation. Okay? I am talking about the situation and not these days, right? So it's very important you need to identify which one is the subject. Then you will be able to decide which verb to choose. Is it clear? The situation is, now it's right, the situation is a singular subject, right? The situation, we are talking about one situation. The situation is not normal. The situation these days. So sometimes it's easier for students to get confused because the subject does not happen to be very close to the verb. The situation these days is not normal. So is the verb and situation is the subject and these days is not the subject. So please keep that in mind. Okay? I am discussing the subject verb agreement also here because that's also very important. So the situation these days is not normal. So this one, okay, is this word, this particular word, not, shows a negative thing. Okay, the situation these days is not normal. So negative thing. So this is a negative sentence. Okay, negative. Let me write in black. It's more clear. I think this is visible. Are you able to see this? Is it clear now? Negative. Okay. The situation these days is not normal. So negative. So we can make it positive by removing not. The situation these days is normal. Okay. If you remove not, then it changes into positive. The situation these days is normal. Positive. The situation these days is not normal. Negative. And then we have another one here. Wow, that was lovely. Okay. Now, wow. So when we use such word, our expression changes because it's a strong feeling we are expressing. Wow. Yesterday, Gideon Sargila already discussed with you, hooray, alas, and all. So these suggest a sort of your expression, a strong feeling. Okay. Wow, that was lovely. Okay. So this type of sentences. Okay. Wow, that was lovely. Alas, I'm sad. Hooray, we won the match. So these all express strong feelings, and these are called exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence, and that is why we have exclamation marks here. So I hope you all know exclamation mark, right? You must have learned about punctuations. So question mark, a period or full stop, and then we have the exclamation mark here. Wow, that was lovely. Again, I have used simple sentence. And then the last one here. Please read books. What do you think this is? What type of sentence is this? Not on the structure. The structure, it's very easy. You can see this is simple sentence based on the function. Like how this sentence is functioning. Please read books. Am I making a request? Yes? Please read books. Okay? Please help me. Okay? Sit down. You are just commanding, giving orders. So command, request, all these are affirmative sentences. Affirmative sentences. So what do you find? Okay, here a simple sentence means like the sentence, we are grouping the sentence based on the structure. Structurally, we have simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. And based on functions, we have interrogative, declarative, negative, exclamatory, affirmative sentences. So I hope you got all things clear. Okay, and in the next session, Gedin Thargila will tell you about compound sentences. Okay, so thank you.